Welcome to
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose.
People of Purpose is a podcast of inspiring people whose stories help you see things differently, live with intentionality, elevate the way you participate in the world, and take the necessary leaps in your life to seek and find your passions. Come with us and develop the courage to wholeheartedly pursue your purpose and unleash your truest potential. Hello, welcome to People of Purpose podcast. I'm your host, Tanur Badgley, and today we have Marianne Rambola. She's a transformational leadership coach for Choice Leadership Academy. She also does the Journey Within, and she's here today to talk about emotional intelligence, life transformation, how to have everything you want in your life right now. She's got an amazing story of living a life in grief and now living a life transformed. She's a leader of leaders of leaders, and I'm very excited for you to meet her today. Please welcome Marianne.
Yeah, Tanner. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me on. And your energy since going through the program is contagious. And I'm so grateful to be here and to learn from you as well as, to ask me questions. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. I want to get to know her a little bit more before we jump in fully.
Went through your profile a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Last
Cool.
night.
What stood out to you about my profile?
I love the way you explain the process. It's so clear for this day and age. I think that the words were really elegant that you used. So like if you can go ahead and explain the process that you went through again, there's that one video that was
a recent video I put about my,
your experience.
The Atlas process?
With the Atlas process. I've never heard it explained in such a great way. So what I want to say about this is that if you explain it to people, that process that way, there's no way anybody's going to say no to that unless they're scared to level up.
Some people are scared to level up.
Like we all come from, we start out with fear and then we have to cross over to get anywhere in life, even to cross the street, right? I mean, we have to learn to cross the street. We have to learn to change jobs. We get to. Right? We don't have to.
Choose to.
We get to. We choose to.
Yeah, I mean, during my game, I got, I don't know what your guys' terminology are, but we call them like hearts. Like I got like 8 hearts, 8 enrollments, 8 people to say they're going to go through the program. And I got 5 in the very last week. And it finally clicked to me about how you explain this to people and how you draw out like what their vision and their purpose is and stuff. And then like I learned about like the power of like urgency. Like people are like, yeah, I would love to one day when I'm settled down or when I have more money, when I have more time. And it's about disrupting that and saying like life is like right now. Like let's take a powerful stand for your life like today. And then like everything starts to open up once they send that deposit in and make that registration. Like suddenly it's crazy just hearing like just my network that's going, like what's opening up in their life just in 1 or 2 weeks since they said yes. The channels of abundance are starting to open back in their life because they said yes to their highest purpose and potential again. And it might have been the first time they've said yes in that way ever or for years and years and years.
And because energy is contagious, right? It's transferable. And I noticed this because I work in like different types of environments right now, 2 different. One is extremely transformational and one is like I'm wanting to bring transformation into it, right?
Okay. So it's kind of opposites.
And it's total opposite environments. And the resistance from the mindset that are not familiar with transformation, even though we have people, but being gathered is different, right? So say you have one person that's positive, right? And then 5 negative Nellies, that will always win, right? Always. But if you have like 5 positive people and 1, they get to really choose, right? Either they're going to level up or they're just going to fade away.
No, and that was the power of community. Like we graduated 42 people. Were graduates of our cohort. And it's just like I've never been around 42 people that said such an intense yes and kept choosing yes and kept choosing breakthrough despite all the breakdowns, like over and over again. If I'm going through a breakdown, I have so many people I can go to that are just like holding me high holding me to like my masterpiece, my highest potential self that they have seen, and they know my gifts, and they see what I'm capable of, and they see where I'm in my way. It's like that mirror technology is super valuable.
Super valuable if you're conscious to it, right? I don't know how everybody in your class played, right? Though it really takes an understanding, because I've been in classes where we have to explain what's happening, like it's not personal. Personal. Like this is just feedback. You take and you receive whatever's true for you. That's why it's coming up. And that's where the work is. Though sometimes I feel like it needs to be explained in detail to people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't struggle with that piece because I had done a lot of like, I did 10-day silent meditation in Thailand. So it's like me with me, silence, meditation. I'm like learning, observing my patterns. I'm married and I get tons of feedback from my wife. I'm a business owner, so I get tons of feedback from clients and employees. And so that part of like getting feedback and like that was super welcome. Like I immediately saw it as a gift, and I saw that as like, how can I use this feedback for growth rather than like, hold on, like you're being mean to me or you're criticizing me or no, like I defending myself. Like that stuff doesn't serve any purpose to like.
But you saw that in the room.
Yeah.
There was resistance in the room, not just from you, right? Yeah. So it's like really working with those people or that mindset to elevate them, to let them know, because when we see that, I feel like there's suffering there.
Yeah.
Right? There's suffering when there's so much freedom on the other side of it all.
And each one of us is like sourcing what's capable for the whole. And so if someone is sourcing that sense of like scattered, scarce, fearful, defending ego type of position, like it's going to show up in our group, and therefore it's going to show up in me.
Exactly. So I went to Choice Center in 2008, which is located here in Nevada. It's been here for 25 years. Actually, they're now 25 years old.
That's cool.
And we call them angel babies. Yeah, so we call them hearts, we call them angel babies.
Angel babies, yeah.
And I believe class 222 is going in this evening.
222, wow.
Yeah, I can actually bring you over there if you want.
I would love to stop by.
Yeah, Discovery goes in at 6. They have to be there 6:30. Doors close.
And Discovery's part 1.
And Discovery's part 1.
Yeah.
So did you have a part 1 and part 2?
Explore and Breakthrough is what ours are called.
So we had Discovery and we have Breakthrough, and then we have the 100 Days of Leadership, right? So in Discovery, it's what are we pretending not to know? Do they do the same? Do they do the question? What are we pretending not to know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
And Explore/Discovery was also like very I focused. It was like learning about myself and my life, and it was like very introspective. And then Breakthrough is much more of like beginning to be a team with the other people and doing things as a team and seeing where I stop in my like, I become stingy in my leadership, or I don't play collaboration very well, or I play win-lose and games. And it's kind of fun to like observe how maybe I can figure out myself well, but once I get into collective, suddenly I'm not sourcing like my potential or whatever.
Similar to how I would show up, right? So I would play like win-lose, right? And I'd stay in the back, and I just would I knew the answer, though I just let everybody figure it out.
Yeah.
How bad is that? Like not giving, how selfish, right?
The feedback I was getting in the beginning of the program was like, you're arrogant, you're a know-it-all. Like you're not willing to go in and be empathetic and compassionate with people. You see yourself as superior to others.
So your way of being right now is totally not that way.
Good. Okay.
Like, that's not my experience of you right now. Any arrogance, though I don't know when you were in the room, right? That could have been part of your transformation.
It was also a way I noticed I show up in new spaces. I want to show up as, I guess, from some reason, being an entrepreneur, you start to show up as like, oh, I've got it figured out, and I'm a big boss, and I've got this company, and like things are going smoothly. And like, I just don't think that serves me at all to show up in spaces like that anymore. Like being humble, being vulnerable, being open, being real. That's the stuff that like really attracts all the resources and teammates and partnerships that you want in your life.
Just being casual.
Yeah.
Just being settled, humbled, peaceful. All of that attracts everything. And that's why you really get to choose the environment you place yourself in. Because I know once I feel the energy is off, I'm out. Like I go totally different direction. I don't want to be there. I don't want anything to do with it. Been there, done that. Unless I'm helping them,
And for me, I had the same reaction. And then the elevation was, how can I be in contribution? How can I give what I want to get from this group? if I don't feel like the group is talking about the right stuff or they're being abundant enough or whatever, like instead of me judging and walking away, why don't I come in and like source that within the team? And that's like where my elevation, I had a huge elevation gap in like leadership in that respect. I was not leading from service and contribution. And now like that has totally flipped now. It's like if I want results, I start by giving and leading and like from contribution. And now people light up because they see like he's here for me, he supports this thing, he's supporting me, and now they're given permission to believe in themselves more. And now the cycle starts. Once you get it in motion, it's going. But
it's going. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes. So Breakthrough, I think, is one of my favorite courses, right?
Me too.
Because it's when everybody becomes up against it and we get to cross people over, right? We see it, it's right there. So what the training actually is a simulator. I call it a simulator, like a life simulator.
Feels like you're in the Matrix or something and you're getting exposed to a whole new reality you could choose, and you get to choose it. You have to cross the line.
And there is a world that works out there, and it takes work, and it takes sustainability too, sustaining in the work, following a practice. So it's a full journey within practice. So here we also do a course called The Journey Within, and it brings you back, and it's all about yourself, and it's about the shadow side. So there's so much work on us that you don't even know. So even myself right now, I'm probably working at 5% of my capabilities. And you're probably working the same and you don't even know it.
I know.
There's so much more for us out there. And I feel that's where I'm stepping into now.
Yeah.
You know?
So
if I'm not helping people, if I can't serve them, I'm not happy. Like that is like my calling. Just to be with people and to serve them. Because if I can't make a difference in them, that's where I'm talking about. You got to let go sometimes. You know,
I feel like the world teaches us that when we're just like giving and serving like this, like we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not charging enough. We're not making enough. Like, I guess we need to be more exclusive and in demand and expensive. We need to, I don't know. It's like, it feels like the narrative is a little bit different in the business world than like go in and give a bunch of value like right away for free. How is that like flipped in your head? How do you see like sourcing contribution as the way?
Okay. Well, I always have been somebody of service, even from having a mother who was handicapped. So I was of service to her. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a life of service. Anybody needs me, I feel like I'm always there, like, and to get things done. How I see what your question is, how do I transition it from like money and this and to of service? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yeah.
Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. So this just came over me this week because I was actually challenged with that question. Okay. This is so good right now. And I thought, somebody doesn't set out, they think they're going to be staying in the MGM mansions. Okay. They don't start out thinking, I'm going to stay in that hotel room. Or maybe they wish for it and say that, but they start out with having a passion for something. So if we are able to just stay focused and keep all the distractions out and stay within what we love to do and where we make the difference, keep going there. Keep applying more and more there. And then everything else follows. Everything else follows. You just have to have the courage and the focus to do it, I think. I mean, what do you think, Tanner?
I mean, yeah, I'm out on the other side of that. 100 days ago, I was not at nearly this level of like trusting and faith and like letting go as I am now. And as each week of the program has gone by and I've like let go of more of the controls, like I have someone in my business that's controlling all the money now, and it's not me. I have someone controlling all the flips. We're flipping like 16 houses right now. I have no idea where we're at on any of them, and I don't need to know.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, right? We still need to know, I think.
Yeah, I need to know if there's issues coming up out of them, I guess. But like, she tells me like we have a squatter, or we went off budget on this one thing, or this little thing popped up. But she's managing, I don't know, like about $1 million of scope of works right now. Like I didn't have that level of influence and like from other people in my company. I was like too much on my shoulders.
Right.
I was trying to do all that stuff and I was messing up because I wasn't attentive enough to any of the areas. I was keeping all these plates spinning. And now what I'm doing instead is I'm focusing on the relationship. So like it's like about like radical transparency and honesty and feedback with each other, with a trusting relationship where my operations director has like a lot of authority and she loves that, but she has me as support and contribution, and I will show up however I need to in support for her. But she lets me know like when she needs that support, or I sense that through our conversations. And it's a whole different way of doing business, like leading through relationships instead of leading with doing.
100%. I agree with that 100%. Though I do think you need to know, like, you can't go, well, I don't really know what's going on with my business.
I know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see the books and I can see the sheets and I see
as long
KPIs.
As we know, right? Because I've worked for, millionaires, and I work for a billionaire right now. And they know everything that goes on. I'm telling you, from the little thing that moves, he knows every single thing that's moving in his life.
He knows if the flooring is in at this one house.
Like, he knows it. He wants to, like, he knows everything that's going on in every area. And if he finds out it went like south, like there's a discrepancy. I mean, even from, I'm going to say, like, he has a private plane, say, right? And 3 things didn't make it on the plane. He knew these 3 paintings didn't make it on the plane, right? The office, say, which is in another country, calls and they want to know the specific reason why it didn't make it on the plane. Did he say he didn't want him on the plane? Was there too much luggage on the plane? Did the pilot remove it on the plane? Like, these are like how detailed. Like, and if you don't have the answer, it's like, but they know everything that's going on in their business, but they're not doing any of it. Does that make sense? So it's just having conversations with people, like you said. It's really about being in relationship with your team and keeping on top of everything.
Yeah.
You just scared me when you said, I don't know anything about my business, because that's how then things happen, right? Because I've also been a part of, WorldCom, which was an Enron situation back in the day when I wasn't, as much as an entrepreneur. I was like juggling a job and being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
When we're getting started in life. And I kind of still do that these days. I get contracted and then I do my own thing, a lot. I stay long, like I'll have a period of time here and I'll leave.
Interesting. So you're getting like these really immersive insights into like highly successful people and organizations, and you're like seeing the opportunities for higher potential or higher elevation than they have right now.
Totally. And that's what's crazy, because like, who am I? Like, I didn't make $1 billion yet. You know what I mean? I'm just probably on my first million.
Yeah. But what do you bring to the table that's so essential? Like, why are you such an asset to a group like that?
Right. So for efficiency, right? Process, procedure, efficiency, seeing the gap, seeing the verbiage in negotiation skills, calling bullshit.
Yeah.
That's one of my gifts. Like, so, and I think after being through the process so many times, right? So I have staffed 8 leaderships all the way through: discovery, breakthrough, and leadership.
Wow.
So the reason why my favorite is breakthrough is because I can call bullshit, right? Nobody's going to wants to be in my space, and they'll tell me I've been called a double barrel shotgun, this, that, right? Because I could see the mask, right? And we want people to remove the mask, to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I want to always remove my mask. I'm like a mush. I could be like totally hard, but I'm like totally mushad,
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of transformation. We could see each other, right? Truly see each other.
Yeah.
You could see the weaknesses and you could see their power points, and you want to focus them to focus on what? Their power, their gifts. And it's to get those gifts out of there. Just because somebody, did something once doesn't mean they could do it again. He has the formula, but if the vision isn't clear and the formula is not working, we got to shift.
Yeah. One thing that came up for a lot of people, and myself included, was like that clarity of vision. Like, what do you feel like it takes to get a clear vision to then become like making decisive aligned action off of that vision?
Yeah. It's always about the vision, right? And the vision, it has to be so clear. It has to be mission driven. Desire. A vision is run by the desire. What do you desire? Like, do you desire it enough? If the desire is not there, you could say you want this, but if the desire is not there, it's not going to happen.
And what is desire?
What is desire? Desire is like, a need, a fulfillment, an inner fulfillment, right? It's very personal. It's a deep fulfillment within.
Do you need to be able to rationalize it to people?
I don't need to be able to rationalize it to people, and people shouldn't have to, because people don't have to understand your come from.
And how do you know if it's a desire from within or a reaction against trauma?
This is really juicy. right? So it's in the thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations, right? So in our thoughts, what are we thinking about in it, right? Are we having a negative thought towards it? Or are we having a positive thought? Which way are we going to sway? We got to sway towards the positive for that desire to happen, or else it's not going to happen, right? So that's the thought, the feelings. Is it
Because I
exciting
feel
me?
like in our culture, we get a lot of vision and desires from the media we consume, the people we compare ourselves to, the supercars we want to buy. And how do we know if that's actually our desire or if it's something that is not rooted in the right type of thing?
So what I hear you saying, your experience from humanity is they get rooted in the cars of desire and this, that, right? That's your experience.
Yeah.
Right. So you could take that one group, right? And we would say that they're probably not as conscious as people in transformation, right? They have desires. They want cars. They want this. Doesn't make any of it wrong. But what fulfills us within? It's much as deeper than any of that. We always think that money is going to fulfill us, cars, and we hear this all the time, right? It's not. It's truly like living out what we were born to do. And it's up to us to find those gifts, right? Like mine, is definitely, supporting people to their next breakthrough, elevating them to, go and excel in breakthrough, discovery, breakthrough, and leadership. 90-day transformation. Let's go.
Mm.
And you have to have and want, I don't like the word more, so to grow, to blossom. And it's only up to you.
So what was in you as a little girl that you became conscious to as an adult that was like, I'm gifted at this, I have a desire in this, let's like really blow this part of me up like real
Okay,
big?
so I have a lot of trauma in my life, first of all, okay? And I always knew as an 8-year-old girl, there was a lot of light in me. And I used the word light naturally,
Mm-hmm.
right? I didn't use, that's my terminology, darkness and light since I'm younger. Intuition, I was always attracted to that verbiage. I knew when I was probably like really 14 years old that my intuitive senses and to trust that always was vital, though it was broken over time. Families back then didn't believe fully in that, right? Like your intuitive senses. And what I've learned over the years, it's actually my greatest guide. And I am spot on. And when I'm not spot on, that's when I'm working from my trauma. And it's a growing process, learning what's trauma and what's not. I had to get to know myself deeply, like really deep. It's probably taking me up until today to really dig out like my darkest hole, which is grief. I was addicted to grief for a really long time.
What did that look like to be addicted to grief?
Getting in bad relationships, right? Because I wasn't fear of loss and I didn't care to lose them because I just would.
Wow, so you were already like sabotaging the relationship on the front end because you knew when it ended, you wouldn't be mourning and grieving the loss of that relationship.
I would be okay mourning and grieving it. I would get through it.
Yeah.
I can get through any grief
It's easier to grieve when it wasn't true love.
because I had true love and I lost, right?
What's your story of true love and lost?
So I dated somebody in high school from the age 15 to 22.
Whoa, 7-year relationship.
And he passed away. So we were ready. We were about to get engaged, buy a house in the Poconos. We were doing an air freight ship company. I mean, it was like power couple ready, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last 9 months of our relationship was totally chaos, turmoil. He decided to do cocaine and he got really heavily addicted and he got a speedball. I actually had left him 3 months before, but it was still extremely devastating because I was hoping that he would recover. So there was a lot of grief because that was all I knew, right? Then I had to go out into this dating world. It wasn't very pleasant. I was ready to settle down, you know?
Yeah. So what kind of reaction did you have to that grief? You said you just kind of dated in more casual or like less deeply intimate relationships?
I actually was, and still today, I'm not a huge dater.
Mm-hmm. Are you single today?
I am. I am. I am single today. I was married for 11 years and he's a good guy, right? A good guy. He just wasn't my guy. I had my 2 kids with him. He's kind. I have a lot of drive and there's different ambitions and you just got to match, right? I love him. He's my kid's dad, but I wasn't in love with him.
Gotcha.
And I didn't think I'd find true love, so I stayed. But then over time, I was like, I don't know, healing started to happen and I transitioned. So that's why I went to Choice originally.
What period of life were you in when you went to Choice?
I was married 3 years and I wanted to get a divorce.
Wow.
Yeah. And then things come up in life, right? And through the work, right? Like you said, the mirror's right in front of you.
Yeah, there's like, you're aware of it. There's no more denying that this is like the truth of my reality. What am I going to choose as a result of this knowledge? Am I going to bury myself in the sand? Am I going to go get busy and distracted? Or am I going to face this thing that continues to hold me back every time I come up against it?
Yeah. I mean, I think even that. And then I also had, trauma with my sister for many years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just total rejection. She said I stole the spotlight of her life.
Was there a pattern between your sister's relationship, your relationship with men, your relationship with self that was just like a deeply rooted breakdown that you were living in, or a deeply rooted wall or barrier that was holding you back?
Yeah.
What was that?
It's the I'm not enough conversation.
I'm not enough, yeah?
I'm not enough.
Who told you weren't enough?
My sister, right? When God I blame, God or, the church for taking Ray from me, like I was in that why conversation. Why is this happening to me? Right? And it's not really happening to me. I'm allowing it to happen to me. And if I only had those tools growing up, right? That's why here we have a teen leadership program where our kids get to go and experience a small segment of what the adults experience because they have much less. But they know like what acceptance looks like. This should be taught in the schools.
How do we give our kids self-worth?
How do we? Well, first of all, this is a whole nother conversation, right? I mean, we can only guide our children, right? And it's going to be their choices because it starts in the home. Everything starts in the home. And I think it's the reassurance and being supportive of what they want and explaining that they have choices. And having the explanation of you could choose this or this. It's up to you and letting go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I ask because I'm about to be a dad. I'm 7 weeks away from my first child being born, and I'm extremely excited. And it was the number one reason I went to Atlas for my leadership training was like, what is holding me back from being an excellent dad? How am I going to implant these wrong things in my daughter? Where am I going to fall short in being a husband? I was starting
and now,
to be like,
what is your conversation?
Different. It's like,
what is it? What is it? Let me hear what you just said in a whole different way, right? How we verbalize things.
Yeah, I would say now it's like I'm extremely excited to be a dad. My daughter is going to be a disruption to the norm. My daughter's going to have massive self-worth. I'm in major service to my wife because I'm moving back to Thailand for 6 months to give birth and like raise our kid in her village. So like we're in a tiny village of 2,000 people, like bamboo hut, like one shower that's a bucket shower for 18 people to use. This is like stark contrast to my life in Kansas. Like my daughter is going to be able to understand the entire spectrum of like human experience. And I'm not scared of time scarcity anymore. I'm not scared of like I'm too far from my hometown or my business or whatever. There's a sense of like, look what shining example I can be for other men, other entrepreneurs, other leaders, other husbands, other fathers, to be able to do it through this circumstance that others would consider to be impossible, or like I would never be able to take 5 months away from my business and live 8,000 miles away. I'm going to do it and I'm going to crush it. And it's also like a feeling of, and how can I be a source of bringing this wisdom to this village? And how can I source the village wisdom and bring it back to America? Like I get to be full Eastern, full Western. I'm super excited to become a really abundant, holistic person as a result of this. And my daughter will be too, and my wife will be. Yeah, we're like this is like what creates unity in the world.
You are definitely connected, very much in touch. I actually, when I was watching all of your videos, I just want to say, like, and that's another thing, like, I feel like I could coach coaches, in saying you show up amazing in the essence of you just had your experience with Atlas and it's still fresh, and just stay on the path of giving and in the mindset of you're capable of anything.
I feel capable of anything.
You are unstoppable right now.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
You're like unstoppable. And that's why it's so highly important to stay in the environments that spark the light.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all my friends have been through the program. I don't think I have any friends.
That's so beautiful.
Besides the person who I'm working for now, their organization, which I'm working on getting them all in, which has been a challenge, though I'm there to learn, right? Like I know I'm here. I place myself here for a reason. There's a much bigger understanding of humanity that goes on for me here. And it's, we don't know what we don't know.
Why is there more to life than like working a job, making money, being a good enough dad, and watching TV and getting to sleep and going on a few vacations? Like, why is there more than that to like, why? My dad doesn't get like why he would like shake up his comfortable lifestyle as a retiree who's got million plus and he's making his dividends and living off of it and traveling and enjoying being my dad. And he's like, why would I go disrupt all that comfortable like life for like transformation? Like, what do I need to transform? How do you answer that?
How about the joy that you already are experiencing and the abundance you already experience? About if there's a new level.
Yeah.
About if there's a new level to experience. That's why. And what would that look like? About if you don't know that there's something bigger for you.
Yeah.
If you're so happy right now, imagine being like on a whole new plateau.
Yeah.
Because we're always taking altitude. Altitude, altitude. We're always taking altitude. No matter what, in my leaderships, I've always accomplished everything in my leaderships, right? Each time. But each time I also have noticed I'm leveling up.
You've been like 8 times to go lead choice.
Yeah, well, at first I was a stay-home mom, right? I was a stay-home mom, right? And I'm with all these successful people. You have to say, it was so funny when I went back.
There's very successful people in this program too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, not in 2008. I'm going to talk to you about when I went back in 2014. So I stayed really active from 2008 to about 2010. And then I kind of went a little away from the program, right? Getting into life, other things. And they brought back a program called The Journey Within.
Okay.
Hence now my company is called The Journey Within Practice LLC.
Cool.
Right? Because it's a practice is what I've noticed. Because believe it or not, even during the program, I didn't understand like why people were not in integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge accountability coach, right? And follow through. And Robin, who owns the center for so long, has been my coach for years. And it's all about the follow through, follow up, follow through, follow up. And I see all these people and I'm like, I'd get frustrated. Like, what's happening? Like they know what to do and they're not doing it. It's just because they're not ready to receive at that level. They're doing the best they can.
That was extremely eye-opening to me about, I trust people and they don't even trust themselves. Why would I trust them if they can't trust themselves to be in integrity with their commitments and their word?
So I went back in 2014 to this Journey Within program. Mind you, I was a stay-home mother with a hair salon I owned for 11 years. It was a small hair salon.
Cool.
3 of us worked there, right? I'd go in like 3 days a week, you know, because I like to get out. I do coaching. I had all executives as my clients, powerful women in transformation too. And I went back to this class called The Journey Within. And it was taught by and brought back from Japan by this man named Keith Benz. He's a trainer. Okay. He's like, I don't know, 80 something now. He's like the Yoda of all Yodas that we have. You know what I mean?
I love someone like that.
Yes. He's amazing. And he created this program. We were the first one in here in Las Vegas and in the States, the Journey Within program. And I'm there. I'm this single mother. I only knew 2 people in the class, like old timers from when I graduated Choice Center, and all these new players. And most of them were high level poker players.
Yeah.
The highest level you could think of.
Interesting.
Right? And their family members and this. And I'm like, all right. And it's me, this like, you know, this is how I judged myself. I was a business owner of a small hair salon and a stay-home mother, but I was like, and then there's me, the mother of this whole thing. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I here? But what it revealed was, right, is that's where I should be playing. That's was my elevation. I am worthy. Yeah. I'm worthy of being with everybody here. And then, you know, it ends up, this is where oneness, you learn oneness too. We are all the same. No one's greater than the other. We all have suffrage. We all have love within us, right? It's just that we're at different plateaus. And how can we help those in those situations that we've already experienced? Because you can't coach somebody unless you've experienced it. Now, I do challenge that. You want to know how, Tanner?
Yeah, tell me.
how do I challenge? I'm not a billionaire, but I think I can coach a billionaire, right? Or I'm not a multimillionaire, but I know I can coach a multimillionaire.
Yeah, you're an imposter.
Right? Am I an imposter?
How do you challenge that
I
view?
challenge that because I've been around so many of them and I've learned the patterns of their behaviors through the work that we do, right? I mean, I did 5 business trainings with Jorge Roderick, who is, he's been a dean of something, dean of, I forget where he was a dean at a school. He's this high level professor. He's a trainer, right? And I've been in all of his trainings multiple times, right? And everything does stem from the pattern of behavior. What we've learned in his class, right, is that every business requires the same thing. It's just a pattern. It's just that you specialize in that business, but you can bring to the table anything: process, procedure, efficiency, kindness, love, how we show up authentically or inauthentically.
Yeah, leadership, emotional intelligence.
EQ, emotional intelligence.
It doesn't matter if it's real estate or stocks or finance or whatever, hair salons. It's like it comes down to, our relationships with self, relationships with others, and how we show up emotionally intelligent in a way that is producing the vision.
So tell me, so now your vision had to change after this. Prior to this course, what was your vision?
My vision was be a great dad. It was prior to the course. It was more short-term sighted. It was like get my business to, I don't know, was 6 houses a month. It was, I don't know, it was like kind of lacking. I was just kind of like going through motions. I was like, well, I've hit my vision, right? It's like my vision was 5 years ago, like start a business and get a team going and buy houses consistently and get passive income higher than my expenses, and I've hit it. And so it's
Sorry
like
about that.
I literally could retire and live on a beach and whatever. And it's like that was my vision as a more immature person. And now I've kind of like hit that in many ways. And so it's like, well, what was my vision? I was kind of like lacking it. And then I was just like going through whatever it took to like knock down my way to success. And yeah, I was like, there was vision, I would say. I'd read Vivid Vision as like a book, and I'd like mapped out my business and my life. Like I would say I was still like doing a lot of vision work, but it was more of an intellectual, like logical, rationalized vision. It wasn't so much like a vision from a way of being. And now my vision for like way of being is just like, how can I be purposeful? How can I be loving? How can I be free? And then like vision can manifest in all sorts of different forms. I'm living in what they call like the both and. It's like I'm no longer like shutting down all things to just focus on this. Like, like I feel like all of my focuses are no longer feeling like overwhelmed and scattered, but they're all kind of headed towards a holistic vision for my life. And now I'm like working on a 90-acre development. We're going to build probably units for like 400 people to live in. We're going to have like our own little town center. We're going to create a homeschool education program. It's going to be a model that goes to every continent. I'm going to be able to travel the world with my daughter when she's 5, 6, 7 years old, and we're going to keep her in the same track of school, but with still like physical locations to be in. I'm going to create one in Thailand on an island. I have a business partner. I have an investor. I have a vision. I'm reading books about it. I had a Eco Village documentary night with 20 people that came over to my house. I'm getting things in motion. People are finding roles. We have a WhatsApp now, and people are stepping into leadership. And I'm taking on tons of projects, and I'm not feeling any sense of overwhelm.
Because you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
So when we do what we love, it's mission driven, right? It's heart driven. When we're overwhelmed, it's because we're out of alignment.
This is like my 6th podcast interview in the last like 9 days, and I have not even like tried to have a podcast interview. Amazing. It's just coming from a ways of being.
Well, are you interviewing me or am I interviewing you? Let's go.
We can go either way. My podcast is kind of some of both.
Well, what I want to know is what was your greatest number one takeaway, like hands down, through the discovery and then through the breakthrough and then through the leadership, because they all offer different aha moments.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't play a lot of that comparison game.
Okay.
They each had different intensities of breakthroughs. I would say probably the biggest one was just like the ways in which the 4-year-old version of myself was running the show. That was the year my parents got divorced. It was the year I became the man of the house. It was the year like my mom started grieving massively and like wasn't taking care of some of our needs around just, like getting us to school and getting us food, and it persisted for years. It was like mom is off running for 3 hours. Like she was just in a grief victim self-worth cycle like all the time. And I was 4 and I became kind of colder, distant, more cut off emotionally, more like whatever it takes, we have to get our needs met. Like it was a survivorship type of dynamic that got created. And I was realizing how like now as an adult and as a married man and as a soon to be father and as a business owner with, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars flowing through our accounts every month, like I'm still running it like I am 4. And that's like wildly inappropriate to be 33, but like having the 4-year-old being the executive of the 33-year-old.
Yeah.
That no longer gets to control me anymore once it was like staring me in the face through the feedback and the mirrors and the, you know, the not enough conversations and all that. And I've just made a different choice. And it's like wasn't a head choice, it was like a heart choice. And it shows up. Like in outlets they call it the nerd is what they call it. Yeah.
The nerd.
So they have this thing like, thank you for like protecting me in this like vulnerable state of my life. And thank you for still being here to like pay attention if that's showing up again. But you don't get to control the show anymore, and like put him in the back seat of the car, put him in the car seat and the seatbelt. And like, I'm back to controlling the car.
Love that.
Yeah. That was major for me. Like that was worth $4,000 like alone.
Yeah.
It was like one of 100 breakthroughs I had.
So also today, when you're speaking with people that are not in transformation, can you see like where they're at in their life and things, or you don't?
I feel like that. Yeah. I just met this man and after 1 hour.
And you saw how you could support him, right?
Yeah.
You saw how that's the beauty of the program. The beauty of the program. Hold on, let's get to this. The beauty of the program is it heightens gifts that are already in you, right?
Yeah.
You improved yourself, and it automatically makes you see where, and it's not like we're critiquing.
I wouldn't have gone there
we
before.
We could see where we could elevate people. We see where we could.
You went there with me before you went through transformation.
Yeah, but it wasn't like right away. Like this was like literally right after I met him. We're going in.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to let you know there's a class tonight at 6:30, and you could jump in and be spontaneous.
I have trick-or-treating with my kids.
Yeah, he gets to go.
Can't go
He gets to be a great dad.
He gets, I was just going to say, you get to be a great daddy. Yes. My kids are grown up now, so yeah.
You look like a news anchor.
A news anchor.
Yeah, she looks like a famous person.
You literally do look famous right now.
Okay.
Especially,
well,
hey, I guess
don't let the ego crop up right now with those comments.
You know what it is? Like they really don't. Like like just with the whole thing about like me about to turn 50 in 2025.
About to turn 50, everybody.
You didn't know this?
Isn't that crazy?
So like it doesn't like drive my ego in any way, shape, or form. Actually, it does the opposite. Like so I'm still practicing receiving.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, for that arrogant side of me, that's where I start to get a little bit more like but yeah, like I am pretty cool. Like maybe I don't need to do so much like of this challenging work anymore. I can coast a little bit. And that's right when like you get slammed in the face again. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun like being out of the container, seeing these subtle ways in which like, oh, like people are in breakdown. It's someone else's problem right now. But no, like let's go in, let's give some contribution.
I love that, right? It's like take it on.
Yeah,
right?
I go right into the stuff now. I no longer feel like, oh, that's about to like overwhelm me with way too much obligation, or I'll get way emotionally entangled into something. Like, I don't feel that anymore. I went super deep with this guy and like it's not like, wow, I can't have a conversation with you. Whereas before I felt like, wow, like I'm getting in this new contract with someone that I'm here to support them, and like, I'm like not keeping my own self care enough, and I'm gonna go run myself thin in all these ways. Like that was the conversation in my head before the program.
And now it's what I hear you saying is now it's like I leave them better than I found them.
Oh yeah.
No
and
matter
I'm better
who comes into my
Yeah.
space, I leave them better than I found them.
Keep your space clean.
No matter if they wanted to hear it or not, or it worked out in their favor or not, that was their choice. But for you as a human being, it's not like, oh, I'm doing this interview and it's like, oh God, let me leave them better than they came
And I'm
in.
comfortable to leave it to their choice. I felt like a version of me before the program was a little bit more like controlling and manipulative. It was like, well, result at all costs. Doesn't matter if they fully chose it. Like just make them do it. And like, it's a little bit more guilt and shame and pressure. You're like, in sales, you can incentivize with scarcity and urgency and all these, things, and like FOMO and stuff like that. And like using those kind of tools can work in the short term with people, but they're like, that's not playing like a win-win game. And so now I feel very comfortable to like be authentic and genuine and leave it at choice.
So that's so great. So a lot of times I know that with the work, right? It's how do we sustain it? How do we create sustainability?
You got better answers around that than me. I'm like 5 days out.
Because I'm going to tell you, I fell off my ship. You know what I mean? What? And I've come back onto my ship.
I can't watch because then I want to talk. I got to get out of here. But no, you're right. I think that's a great point, though. I think we associate like the roller coaster with failing, but it's not. That's just life. So it's just like
it's just course correcting.
I have a whole new relationship with failure too as a result of this
like
program.
It's just that we made a left turn and now we're making a right turn, but the awareness is there, right? And we don't want it to linger too long. And it's that, in that portion, it becomes shorter and shorter and shorter in between. It doesn't happen then.
I used to worry that failure
That's where the practice comes in.
I used to worry that failure would kind of like erode my credibility with people I worked with. And so I would kind of like mitigate or like say, oh, it wasn't like a game that mattered that much to me, or like say, well, the result is kind of muddied because there's also this metric that we weren't quite tracking. And I would come up with like little bullshit excuses as to why like I failed at something instead of just like full ownership over it. Because I was scared what people thought about me, because I was scared that I'm not enough as a leader. Why am I worthy of running this company that's buying all this real estate and leading all these people? Like, I felt like an imposter. Like, every job in our company, the person is better than me at their job. I couldn't do their sales job better than they do. I couldn't do their operation better than them. And I'm just this guy that hangs out with people. It's like, it's like hard sometimes for me to see my worth in all of that. And it's totally new relationship to that now. Like, I see that I have a superpower, like by being in such authentic relationships with others.
I love this.
Yeah.
And where was that crossover? When did that transition happen? When did that actually like occur? When you said, okay, like I felt like I was looking at this, but then you owned that role.
Yeah. I would say I started making these vulnerable videos in our WhatsApp group. So our program had a WhatsApp group. So when you're in that part 3, ours was 10 weeks long. It was called Redesign. You called it 100 Days of Leadership. During that part, you're in the real world. You're outside. You're in your community. You're making this new life happen. I would have breakdowns, and I would just I would be in demand for coaching, and then I would make a video for the entire 50 people to watch, and I would be vulnerable, crying. I just tried to enroll my friend into the program, and they said it's a cult, and they said like I'm being pushy, manipulative, and like here's the feedback for me. And like it feels really risky because this is someone that like I work with in an important way, and like risking our relationship is scary because that could break down this thing that like but to me it's been really fun. Like I've had a couple relationships kind of evaporate as a result of trying to enroll them, but it's cool now because it feels like there's new space open for the right people to come into my life. Like we had the wrong agent selling our houses, and I didn't know it because my business partner was managing her, and she's not getting results. She's not putting the ad up very fast. She's not showing it. We don't know how many offers. She's not filling in the KPI sheet. Tanner, go in with her. And after an hour and a half conversation, she quit.
So, this is what I found out. It was a huge discovery and a process of learning, is that our energy isn't going to match everybody's energy. And it doesn't mean she's not a successful realtor.
She's a very successful realtor.
But she's just not one to work with.
Our visions are not aligned.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't make anybody bad or worse. Just like you, like when you were showing up one way, you may have showed up one way in that environment, but you brought yourself out of that environment and placed yourself where you're going to show up.
And before I'd be like, oh crap, we can't sell our houses. We don't have an agent. This is way too risky to have this conversation. And I would just like let mediocrity or failure just persist for way too long. And now it's just like you said, with your billionaire business owners aware of everything. Like once they, like that painting conversation, what are the 3 things that it took? Did the pilot take it? Did they deny it? What happened there? Like I basically did that with her, and it was just like super clear that she's not the person who should be representing our brand. She's not a brand ambassador of everything that we stand for. Mm-hmm. She's playing a smaller game that doesn't want to scale, that's like her family and her freedom and her comfort. And we're looking to go to 15 homes sold a month. And then we're starting a coaching and community thing that's going to probably be 100 plus homes sold a month through all of our network of students. She's not ready for that. She's never going to want to do that.
Right.
And so now we get to find the right person. And literally 3 days later, the right person just showed up out of nowhere. It's super crazy.
Yeah. Pulse, right? So that's another thing, like I've been working with a lot. So I've decided to be, an alignment coach, right? Really, I want to get into people's lives as well as my own life and align it with really the people that work in my vision. There's no more like half-assing it.
Yeah. And I've gone in with our team now in like these really deep ways. And I'm like so amazed at like how aligned my team is with our vision.
So what are some questions today that you ask your team that since you've been in transformation, when you're getting a new team member, what are some of the questions you'll now ask them? Because I know it's not, what is your vision?
What are you celebrating today has been a nice one. That kind of clues in about what matters to them, where they're deriving meaning and purpose. You can hear in like the nuance of how they're saying something, like it's about relationship with others. It's about connection to love. It's about feeling like an abundance of time. I can kind of clue into those type of things. And then from there, it's like, I asked them things like, I led a meditation for our team the other day, which is something risky that I don't ever do, but now I do this. And someone's like, Tanner, this is extremely valuable work. Why don't you lead 5-minute meditations more often? And everyone was crying. It was really cool. But yeah, it was like the meditation was basically like, go back in a time in your life when you really were proud of a success. Like, what was that moment where you were receiving the trophy or the round of applause? Or maybe it was like in your room afterwards, like where you were just like, wow, I did it. Like, I really succeeded at something that mattered to me. It took a lot of hard work. And now I'm here on the other side. And I wanted that. And I'm super happy. And people like dropped into that. And it was like, what did that take from you to get there?
Right.
And like, who were you like when you started that journey? And now like, and then sit in that for a lot of breaths. And I asked a lot of nuanced questions around that. And then now fast forward to today, where are you at in that path of success? Are you living as if like success is inevitable? Or are you in fear that you might not be enough or that this is too hard or you're overwhelmed?
So these are some of the questions you're asking new candidates who come to work for you?
Yeah. I ask them one-on-one. Now I ask them in group settings. We have these like purpose meetings now that we decided to do monthly where we just talk about the purpose of the company. And I also am very inclusive about the vision now. I see my role as being dynamic in the vision, like making a container that's large enough that everyone's visions come to fruition inside of it. And not only that, once they do meet their vision, that they can elevate their vision to the next level within our container.
So you're source.
Yes.
You're source, and then you're being causal.
Yeah.
Right? So as being source, then what are you causing? You're causing them to respond to who you be, and you show them. Oh. And by bringing all of these holistic approaches, I mean, like even meditation, right? Getting them in a vision. You can even talk about like, what would they look like or feel like when they sell this house for you?
Yeah. And we did that with our
what their
families
family
too.
would look like.
And we started to do that with families. Like I noticed the conversations getting really about like, did we sell it at the highest margin? Did we sell it with the lowest days on market? And I'm like, yes, all that's important. Let's not diminish any of that. But let's also look over here. Like, what impact are we having in people's lives? Like, real impact. This house we just sold. Tell me about their family. Well, they came from Mexico 7 years ago. They started this flooring company. They were able to sponsor their cousin to come in. Now he's the crew chief. And now he's like saved up 20 grand and he's got consistent like 6-7K a month coming in. And this is his house. And he bought it and he's got a little daughter who's 2 years old. And like, she's now moving from the 1 out of 10 school district to the 7 out of 10. And we're no longer in fear of crime when we go outside. And we're so freaking grateful. Can we hug you? Like, we want to take a picture with you. We want to like tell our family about this. And it's just like pulling that out to the discussion, like getting away from just the KPIs and like the dehumanization of business and getting into like the real tangible impacts we're having in the world. That is the kind of stuff that motivates people to want to work at an organization.
Well, I think that goes back to saying like, did somebody's vision start out like, oh, I want to, stay at the mansions, at the MGM, or did it start out like, I want to create this and I want to make people feel this way and I want to,
Vision to me is much more about the feelings and visions I'm evoking in others.
Yes.
It's not my material accolades anymore. It's not the numbers in my bank account or the cars that I own or the exotic countries I get to go to or the type of women that I get to be in relationship with. Like, it's not that. It's something that's more about being connected and like love.
I love that. I love that. So going from your business, right, in transformation, which has been extraordinary, it seems, for you, and a lot of weight off of your shoulders.
Yeah, I feel so light and free.
It's like, woo!
I'm moving to Thailand for 6 months, so I'm like not worried at all about it.
We used to do something that, like, if somebody was tight, like, still tight, like in transformation, we used to do something called the raggedy ant. And
I haven't heard that.
We just get up and we'd like, okay, like, loosen up because transformation is light.
Yeah. We did a lot of stuff where it's just like, let your body lead you and close your eyes. And if you want to yell, like, you can yell.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter what people think about
Not at all. Or else then we're so tight. Right? We're like walking like this, and it's no good because we want to be free and relax, and it's for the body, mind, and soul.
And people think you don't get to be free until you reach all these results. You can claim freedom right now. What does freedom look like in your body right now?
Peace.
Do it. Be goofy.
So going from business, I would like to go to relationships. So you're married.
Yeah,
right?
I'm married.
I'd like to ask you, like, how did that change your relationship? Sounds like you already had a really healthy relationship.
I did, yeah.
So how has that, exploded your relationship, and what advice or coaching would you have for a man getting into a relationship?
Yeah, I think what has happened recently is I've been extremely in contribution to my wife's vision. And when we got clear about her vision, she was being shy about it. I'm like, seems like you want to give birth in your hometown village in Thailand. Like, why are you not asking me to do that? Well, it's a big ask of you. You're like the CEO of this company and we got a house in Kansas and like you need to make money and it feels like a lot. But that's what you want, right? You've wanted that since you were a teenager. Like you and your mom have like dreamed about that. Like, why don't? And then she's like, okay, I want that. And like once she claimed that, like everything kind of shifted around that. And then it turned into, hey, like my mom would actually need like this space renovated. Can we send $2,000 for that? Hey, we need a motorbike and we're also going to gift it when we're gone. Hey, like my parents are really busy working. Could we retire them? It would cost $500 a month to retire. They're farmers in Thailand. Yeah. So now it's just like ACH, Auto, Zelle to my wife every $500 a month now. And she sends it to her parents in Thailand. And now her parents are retired. This is literally on the last 90 days. All these things have happened. Yeah. It's like super crazy.
It sounds like dreams are coming true.
Dreams are coming true. Yeah.
And you had given permission for your wife to be free and ask for whatever she wanted. And it's not about the financial aspect. It's about like, what did she desire? You wanted to fulfill her desire.
I feel like a lot of women in our culture like are kind of, they feel like they have to mute their desires a little bit or put them secondary to the man or something because they're kind of following the man's vision or something. But I felt so abundant with my vision. I feel so abundant with my vision now that it's like, what is like the highest version of your vision you want? And how does that match with mine? And how can we also have 100 other people doing their highest version within the container that I'm sourcing? And that's the fun game I'm playing now. It's just like, how big can the abundance go?
How big?
Feels like I can be like I don't know, a new vision that people are kind of challenging me on is like, why don't you like create a country and be the leader of it?
Well, I want to share with him, besides creating a country, I wanted to share with him when I saw your videos online, my experience of you was a really great discovery coach.
Okay. That's feedback.
That was just
that's part one.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, he would be a great discovery coach.
You're about to blow up on Instagram right now.
Cool.
I posted a spicy reel of you.
Nice.
Literally, Bill just wrote on there and he said, spicy Tanur Badgley.
Nice. Kate's also been helpful with getting my voice to be more actually what I believe and think and less politically acceptable. Yeah.
That's literally what my caption was.
So politically acceptable? What?
I mean, I grew up in like white middle class suburb public school. Like I kind of know how to play the game of like get everyone to like me, be popular.
Oh.
I was high school quarterback. It was very easy to get liked, but like that's not where like deep transformation and impact in the world comes from.
In today's divisive world, needing voices that stand.
Yeah, so I learned of this concept of a decentralized country. You basically, so one of the things that I see as a huge opportunity for me in leadership is being a unifier. And so if I can unify communities that are like tight-knit, like playing team the way we do inside this leadership container, you can put 4,000 nodes together under the same brand and culture and values and vision and et cetera. And now you got 5-6 million people that have a GDP of real estate owned and businesses owned. And you can make a strong case that that is a sovereign nation and that has their own currency, own bylaws, own rules, own government structure. And that's like the way that countries can work in like the digital virtual age that we exist in now.
Impressive. Whoa.
Yeah.
Like drop the mic right there. Like that is impressive. Like
did you guys start at 2:30?
So
okay, yeah,
what brought you here? What brought you to Las Vegas right now?
The anchor point was probably Kate.
I would come for Kate. I mean,
I think Kate's a superstar in the making.
She is such a superstar in the making, and she's making all superstars, so she just can't help herself.
I think Kate should own like a lot of businesses and do her little magic spice in them.
Don't we all know this?
I could see her owning like 100 businesses and she's like a 10 to 20% owner in them, and all she does is like speak vision and like purpose and meaning into it, and it goes. Yeah, I would do a business with her like that.
Ready to go?
We're trying to negotiate on your behalf when you're not here.
I know.
You should really talk to Kate.
We started the negotiations that you give her 99%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should start wrapping up, I guess. But there is a whole audience that we also have to, we also get to pay attention to here, and how we can be in service of them. So where would we like to go to like kind of tie a bow on this and put the audience in
Yeah, I think it's about, growth, right? So are people today in this day and age really working on themselves? There is a portion I know that we know population that does the inner work, though. How can we really, all of us continue just bringing that inner work to our employees, to our friends and things of that nature, because it's, collective that is going to change and create. Like you want to be a world's leader, right?
I don't know if I want to be. People are saying that would be a great spot for me.
Well, it's really about, transforming lives and making a difference in lives. And you set forth already how you're going to go about doing that on a huge scale. So for, a normal, person who hasn't, received the gifts of transformation, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, this is more of the space I've been living in recently. It's just like, we call it enrollments. It's like getting people get to go to this type of transformation. It doesn't matter where you are from before. Like, you can have a new life. You can have a transformed life. And it really can happen over 90 days. It doesn't need to be therapy for 10 years or whatever. So I say, like, what dreams have died in you? Where are you starting to live smaller than you knew was possible? I know for sure in myself and in others that there's moments in our life where we felt like we could take on anything, where we knew what our greatness was. And now when we're living like this, we're starting to kind of fall out of belief in that, or out of alignment in that, or saying like, oh, that's like pretty far ahead. And there's like a disconnect between the present and what they say is their vision. Like I say, like, life is happening right now. Let's bring that vision into the present. Let's begin living and breathing and being that vision, like right this second. There's no disconnect anymore.
Right. So it's really easy to say that. Like, let's be that. Like, how do like we support people today in a collective to realize that gap?
Go to this program. This is the best program by far. And I've done tons of stuff. I did yoga teacher training for a month in India, in the birthplace of yoga. I had a guru. I lived in an ashram. I've done 10-day meditation with Vipassana. I've done like entrepreneurship in itself is a big time like container of leadership. This blows all of that out of the water. Like I went to Atlas or Choice, like going to a transformational leadership program where the focus is on emotional intelligence and you're playing team with others in a community. That's such a mirror for everything you want to discover and be and learn about your life. It's not about like attaching to me as a mentor or guru or you. It's about like It's about you with you. It's like finding that inner relationship again, that inner beauty and joy, and like falling in love with your life again.
So yeah, so what I want to be clear is the training is an experiential learning.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, it's a simulator. It will evoke everything that you're resisting or how you're showing up to get you past that.
Yeah.
And nothing is personal. It's just feedback and an elevated program which allows you to see the mirror in front of you in your behaviors, in your life.
Nowadays, like, I don't want to really build things with people that haven't done this. It's just like, it doesn't have the power that it could have. So it's like, if we're in alignment and we resonate, like my entire company is going. Every single person that is on our payroll is going to the program. And they all chose it for themselves, and they're all paying on their own.
And I want to share something with you. So I've been blessed enough, right? I've been in the work at Choice Center, like I said, for years. I've been fortunate enough to do trainings multiple times with great trainers because eventually probably will become a trainer, maybe.
Let's go.
Well, it's not completely my vision yet, right? It's somewhat. We'll talk about that another day. Though, what I wanted to share, I lost my train of thought there. What did you just say? I'm so sorry. I asked you a question.
Yeah, I talked about like why I care about people going. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So you're going to have everybody in your business go. That's going to be phenomenal for communications because I've been blessed enough to work with companies who sent all their employees through. And there's some mega tycoons in this town who have gone through Choice Center.
Really? I would love to interview them.
Okay. And I'm going to share this. They've sent everyone through and then they have created their own business program through it. So for businesses, so now they bring transformation to businesses.
I love that.
They go into businesses and they train, or elevate even after they've been through the program, their employees. So they bring trainers into businesses now. So I did a next gen program and that's what we did with these owners' employees. And I could tell you these owners of these businesses have zero debt, great relationships with their wives, and living just abundant, right? When I could also share with this, because I'm not naming any names, their lives used to be chaos, full of debt, and full of everything.
Yeah. I just feel like cleaner now.
I don't know what the hook is for him to go sooner than later. Okay, when we have one right here in our backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just that, like, let's take it to the next level, our lives, and clean up anything from the past and start living present here and now.
Yes. Clean up the past, bring the future into now, and surrendering and go and know that like you have you are sourced for any transformation you want.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to like achieve something to deserve it or be somebody famous to deserve it. Like, claim it now and claim it from a way of being. It's not doing, it's a being. And the being decides the doing that you get to do.
Right, because so many people face like imposter syndrome, like you and I saying that, like, oh my God, we make so many mistakes over here. And then what do? We own businesses and have success come on our lap like this. It's because it's a state of mind and a knowing that we can lead, because it is the leader who forms a great team and influences them to be great leaders.
Everything rises and falls at the level of leadership. I think John Maxwell said that. John Maxwell is like the guru of the gurus of the gurus in leadership. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I can't wait to see what you end up bringing to the table. Like,
I feel like a newborn child right now.
Well, you're about to have one. You're about to give birth.
We're both going to be newborns.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. That's what transformation is. And then offline, I will ask you some other questions because I do want to know, like, you could tell me this, what's your contract?
I'm a purposeful, loving, and free leader.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. What's your contract?
I'm a loving, honest, free leader.
We both have the free one and loving. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. So, and Kate,
I am an authentic, powerful, courageous woman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that are our superpower. Like, when we tap into these ways of being, we can do anything.
So that means, like, as long as I'm loving, I'm honest, and I'm doing it like freely, like in my essence. right? Like I can attract anything. When I'm in my ego, that's when my uncertainty comes in and everything. And it doesn't work in my life then.
Well, thank you for talking to me today, Marianne. This is really fun to talk
Yes.
about leadership and have a kind of a two-way interview as well.
Yeah. I mean, what was your biggest like takeaway or learning if there was, you know?
Yeah, I just feel so light and like in love with my life again. And yeah, it's like being in service is like the ultimate way of leading. Like leading with like love and service is, yeah, that's the root and heart of anything I want in life. Just if I want something, give that. And then it will show up tenfold in my life. Just keep giving and giving and giving, and people like you show up in my life. And then you're going to take me to the leadership center, and then who knows what else I meet. Like
Yeah.
I'm living a life like surrendered to my purpose.
Surrender to my purpose. You know what? I'm going to use that daily right now. Surrender to my purpose.
It's a good little mantra.
I love that mantra. I'm
Yeah.
stealing it from you. May I use it?
Yeah. I'll have my
I have it on
assistant
film.
invoice
Can
you
I
for
use
that.
this mantra?
I get 2.5% of royalties. Yeah, for sure.
This is where we're going. This is where we're headed. This is not a bad thing though, right?
Yeah.
Like this is like this is real talk. This is really what happens, right? I mean, and why not? Because it's only going to circulate more.
Thank you. This was a very abundant conversation. I hope that you all are reminded of the abundance and the love that's all around you every moment.
Yeah. And I just hope everybody remembers that like it's within us, that the desire, the want, you have to go after it and earn it and do the work. Do the transformational work that is right at your fingertips in your backyard in a few different states now, actually.
Yeah. Here's to becoming people of purpose.
There we go.